Hello, everyone, and welcome to War of the Stars, a Star Wars podcast. Come to you, as always, from deep within the Outer Rim, far beyond the watchful eyes of the Galactic Empire. My name is John Mark Tolley. Joining me, as always, is our resident Imperial propagandist, Mr. Joe Cahill. Joe, how are you today, sir?
I'm doing good, and I think it should be, information specialist, not Imperial propaganda. It's I pass on important information that you seem to forget about.
Yeah. And also joining us back from his hiatus last week, and glad to see he is feeling better, is Mr. Ray Rumsey. Ray, how are you today, sir?
I'm doing much better. Thank you very much. It's good to be back.
That's good to have you back. We definitely missed you last week, considering the topic was something that you would kind of mentioned that you wanted to talk about. So, but yeah, so you were definitely missed last week. But this week we're going to do something a little bit different. We're going to be giving of our favorite ships and vehicles in the Star Wars universe. What we're going to be doing is we're going to be going kind of round robin, and we will start with Joe. And Joe will give one of his one of his favorite ships. Kind of talk about why he has it there, what he likes about it, and then we'll go to Ray. Ray will do the same thing, and then myself. Throughout this, I'm going to try this little screen sharing thing to see if we can get some pictures of some of these ships up, so you guys can take a look at them and kind of get an idea of what they look like, and so on. For those of you on YouTube and on the Facebook Live page, for the rest of you that are listening on audio, sorry. We'll try maybe get some details of some links where you can find some of the pictures of some of these ships maybe. And so there we go. So with that being said, Mr. Cahill, why don't you start us off with the first ship on your list?
That's simple. The Imperial 2 class Star Destroyer. She looks good. But, there are some technical aspects of why I like them so much. For one, the wedge shape. That wedge shape allows leading edge weapons all down the top side and the bottom side that all are still able to fire forward without interrupting either of her broadside capacities. So,
yes.
If she was more of a square, then only the forward weapons would be able to fire forward. This way she can bring her broadside weapons forward to the side and basically meet an enemy coming from any of the three main angles.
Yeah.
Which is always nice. And, it looks like something I could see built in the future. Kind of like that other series, Galactica.
Yeah.
They look feasible.
I'm hoping this is working. Are you guys seeing the Star Destroyer up there?
Yep, sure are. The Destroyer is visible.
So, yeah, I mean, ship.
It just looks so. It looks like the Fist of the Empire.
Yeah, it looks menacing. It looks. It definitely has that naval. I think more than any other ship in sci-fi, it has this definitely naval battleship kind of feel to it. Like it reminds me of almost the old, the dreadnoughts, from the First World War, the Second World War, the big, huge battleships.
Yeah.
And
I'm partial to big ships.
Yeah.
Especially on the proper side.
Yeah. Just a great start off right there with the
whoa.
Oh, sorry. Let me go back. There we go. And I'll go back to normal mode for a while. Anyway, so yeah, great starting off. Ray, what about you? What is the first ship on your list?
Well, and I made the top 10 as you requested, and starting with my number 10 favorite ship. It was kind of a cheat almost, but that would be the Death Star 1.
The Death Star. Ooh. Wow.
I mean,
what is it you like about the Death Star? The first Death Star.
So it had its design flaw. I mean, if you really want to call it that, it was more of an exploit. But what I liked about it is that when I first saw Star Wars, this was the ultimate power in the universe.
Yes.
And, it had that satellite cannon, and I loved it. Everything about it.
Yeah. That was a great ship.
And the fact that it could carry the Iron Fists, those Star Destroyers, on board it.
Right.
Mm-hmm. there we have it in all its glory. Silhouetted by a shadowed by an Imperial Star Destroyer coming. Great. Great picture. Great. So, my number 10, go back here. I'm going way back to the Clone Wars era, and I am doing for a ship IS of the and that would be the Vulture Droids. I don't know what it is about these ships. They just look menacing, and the fact that they can turn around and walk on the legs just makes them just creepy and scary, and just something about them is just kind of real menacing. And the fact that with any of the droid ships, the fact that there's no humans in it, that they're all just droids, I mean, to me, it makes them, I don't know, just kind of even more menacing to me. I don't know. What do you guys think of the droid ships?
No, they're menacing. I don't know. I harken back to, they remind me an awful lot of a Cylon wing.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
I can definitely see that.
So that makes sense with them being the robots,
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
They almost remind me of like a crab or a spider.
Yeah. Definitely.
Awesome.
All right. Joe, what is your next ship that you have?
Well, then I'm going to have to go, since you just went with the fighter. I'm going to have to bring in the TIE Interceptor.
Surprisingly, you guys have been naming stuff that is not on my list.
Whoa!
So you went really unique. Of course, I went very Imperial.
I can tell. I really.
Yeah, it's amazing how I'm attracted to more military-looking stuff. So, the TIE Interceptor from that first introduction.
That was awesome.
Suddenly, you had a TIE fighter that could maneuver and stay with an X-Wing and basically fight it to a standstill while still having the disadvantages of no shields. Yeah. So that was what we don't get a beautiful picture of the TIE Interceptor.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
Now, I will say, to the point of agreeing with you on this one, not because of imperialistic sympathizing or anything like that, but
he said he who picked Death Star 1.
I am like really drawn to symmetrical ships. I don't know why. I know that doesn't make any difference in the vast nothingness that is space, but to me, a ship that is identical on both sides is just perfection. So the TIE fighters of any class, really, interceptors and otherwise, like, I do like those.
It's the
Yeah,
balance.
there it is. Complete with all of the specs for it by Linear Fleet Systems.
Very nice.
Nice.
And it's got the 4 cannons instead of the 2 in the middle.
Right.
Yeah, the quad,
right.
quad lasers.
Made a huge difference in its capabilities.
Yeah.
Love it.
It looks, it's definitely very, very cool looking. And
it maintains that menace of military Imperial might.
Yeah.
Yes.
Clean lines.
Although, everybody needs to stop thinking of it as menace. I even misworded it there. It's the Imperial protection.
Yes, definitely.
The benevolence of the Empire defending it.
Yeah, you don't want to start using Mark's words because then he'll think he's getting to you.
I am. I will turn you. You will turn to the light side eventually. You'll become part of the old.
Believe in that ancient religion.
Oh, nice.
All right, Mr. Ray, what do you got?
What do you got, Ray, for your number 9?
All right. So my next one is more of a recent development, and I'm not even. If anybody who knows me and has listened to any of the other shows I do, I'm a bit of a mischief maker, and I like the chaos. So this next ship definitely screams to me. It's from the new show Star Wars Resistance, and it is Kazuda's ship, the Fireball. I like that one because it kind of reminds me of like a old timey prop plane, like Red Baron time frame. But it is named Fireball because it has a tendency to just kind of explode into flames whenever it feels appropriate. So to me, that level of chaos is awesome.
And let's see, I think I got a good picture of it here. Let you guys out there take a gander at this ship. And there it is.
Yep.
It definitely has a. It looks like they took part of an X-wing and kind of cobbled a bunch of other stuff together with it.
Right. Like it's just it's like a junker ship, but I'm a huge fan of fighters too, like the smaller, quick maneuverable ships. So there's a lot of those on my list.
Say I have a good mix of mine, which you'll see. Mine, in fact, my number 9 ship is once again. I am. Hold on. I don't know why I just did that because going back to the Clone Wars era and a precursor to one of a be on a lot of our list, I'm sure, later on. It is the ARC-170 Starfighter.
There you go. We finally agreed on one.
Yes.
Flunky.
That is my number 9 ship, the ARC-170. I don't know, just it looks, it just looks cool. I think that's all there is to it, and you can see the design, inspiration for later ships that you have of the X-wing. It's like the X-wing on steroids. It looks bigger and beefier, and you can see in the background it has little rear-mounted cannon in the background, in the back for the back seat for the gunner. It's like they combined an attack fighter with the X-wing. So that is my pick for my number 9 ship. Is the ARC Starfighter.
That would have worked so well as a medium bomber instead of the bombers we got.
Yes. Yeah, I would totally agree with that.
Yep. That looks like something that should come in for an attack run and a bombing run.
Right.
So we're down to my number 8, which I'm going to go with the Interdictor class Star Destroyer.
Ooh.
That's a good one too.
Yeah.
I like that ship.
I do too. It's sleek, maintains the strength showing of the Empire, but its ability is unmatched and unparalleled by other starships, with its ability to rip you out of hyperspace.
Yes.
And set up a perfect ambush for the bigger ships and the fighters to then take advantage of.
Yes, which
and it should have been used in the movies somewhere.
Yeah, it's a shame that we had to.
Nope, wrong
how
one.
fast is hyperspace?
Light speed.
Like,
I don't know how.
Like, yeah, I mean, do we have a quantifiable number? I'm thinking in my head, if it's light speed, this thing is a ship that's going at the speed of light. I mean, that's impressive.
Yeah. And one thing I like that they did in Rebel, because Rebels is the first time that in canon that you see the ship being used, is how it affects the ships. How it's not just, the ship comes out, but it's like violently pulled out. So that like when the ship gets pulled out of hyperspace, you see the crew being flung around the bridge and around the ship. It's not something like, oh, they're there. This is like literally like ripping it out of hyperspace. And it affects the ships and the crew when it happens. So
right.
I did definitely like that it's not just this kind of like soft little thing where you come out of hyperspace. No, it's not fun.
As it should be.
Yeah.
Well, and it's the way it does it, like casting a mass shadow. So your hyperdrive shuts off because it thinks it's about to hit a planet.
Yeah. It puts out a gravity well, basically. But it also keeps ships from going into hyperspace. So it was a perfect ambush ship. You just set this thing on one of the hyperspace lanes and wait for your prey, so to speak, to go by, and you got them dead to rights.
Yeah. And that's just, I couldn't imagine getting pulled out of hyperspace to see that.
Yeah.
And dropping its fighters at the same time.
Right. Yeah. Well, this is it.
Oh, I think.
All right. Ray, what is your number 8 ship?
So my number 8 is the Charger C-70, the Aggressive Negotiator. I just, this is more aesthetics for me.
So what was that ship again?
The Charger C-70. Republic era. I'm pretty sure it was clone stuff, but I'm not 100% sure on that. But yeah, it just, I don't know. The Republic era had a really sleek like paint job system. You look at the Republic ships throughout the Clone Wars. I really like their color scheming and how all those patterns work together.
There it is.
Yeah.
That it reminds me a lot of like what would come later with like the Blockade Runner and the Hammerhead Corvettes.
Right.
It's got that same kind of elongated feel.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, you can see the auto cannons or the turrets there.
Mm-hmm.
Like this thing was pretty well
armed.
Yeah, it could take care of itself.
Yeah. Nice. That was awesome.
And it's symmetrical.
Yes. There you go. So my number 8 ship, which I will bring up here really quick, is the heavy bomber of the Rebellion and later probably the New Republic, before they came up with those stupid this one that you talked about how the Arc Fighter should have been the attack bomber that we saw. To me, this is the ship that should have been the attack bomber that we saw. It is the B-Wing.
Nice.
Just such a cool design. I like the way it can flip it can go straight vertically, but then flip on its side and go like that. Yeah, I mean, forget those giant, whatever the heck those were. This is the ship that we should have seen going against that Star Destroyer in Last Jedi.
They're a little faster too.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, just cool design and super powerful. I mean, if you watch in Rebels, they actually talk about the design of the ship and just how powerful these ships were, and also how hard they were to fly. That was one of the issues that they talk about in the show, is that these were not, the X-Wings were designed to be simple to fly. Luke made even a comment about, they're like the T-16, his T-16 back home. They were designed so that anybody that had any basic knowledge of how to fly could hop in the cockpit and take off and fly. The B-Wings were not designed for that. These were designed for trained pilots. But still, I just love the design. And yeah, so that's my number 8. Is the B-Wing.
Nice.
That and another in the A-Wing, but the B-Wing won out for this one.
That's fair. That's fair.
All right. And Joe, where is your next ship?
Victory class.
Ooh, Victory class Star Destroyer. What is it about the Victory class you like?
I like how it's the earliest version of a pure Star Destroyer design, but it sets the course for all future Star Destroyers.
Yeah.
On basic capabilities and design.
Yeah.
With a couple of cool little, it's got some nice little additions on it that I particularly enjoy. The almost wing spread that they have on it.
Yeah. Let me get a second. I got one up for you guys so that everyone can see it. There it is.
Yeah.
Victory class Star Destroyer.
And, that's really the first, to me, good Star Destroyer that the Empire put out. Because we had all the Clone Wars stuff, but that was all Army of the Republic.
Yeah.
This looks vicious.
Yeah. This is when the Empire said, okay, we need to show some might.
Yeah.
We're not going to have these kind of little rebellions.
Yeah.
No more rebellions.
No more separatists. We don't like that idea. So this is just, sets the course to me as far as the Imperial Navy.
Absolutely. Nice. Yeah.
All right. Mr. Raymond.
Okay. My number 7 is more not about the class per se, but it is Slave One. I'm just a fan of that ship because back before all the Mandalorian stuff, back before people started getting like really super into it or whatever, this was Jango Fett's ship. And Jango to me is what Boba should have been in the originals. He had this reputation for being such a BA and falls into a Sarlacc pit. But then we watch Jango and he's just tearing it up. And, that was his ship. It had the sonic weaponry. I thought that was really cool.
Yeah.
And the only thing that I can say that I didn't like about it was how it laid flat, like almost on its back, and then how you had to sit in it, and then it went vertical. I'm not a fan of that, but everything else on it is just lovely.
Hold on. I'm having trouble finding a picture of Slave One, a good one at least.
Oh. I figured that would be the one that just millions of easy pictures.
Well, I'm trying to find a good one that shows like a good. Here we try this one. Not bad. All right, here we go. And Slave 1.
Yeah.
Looks like it's flying over Mustafar there.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's a classic, iconic ship. It's everyone knows, and it's those, like you said, those sonic weapons and the noise those things. To me, that was one of the coolest sounds in the prequels, was that those charges going off the boom.
Yes.
Yeah.
Let's forget the physics for a minute.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Hey, it's Star Wars. We have space wizards, okay? So
yeah, but they still can't scream in space.
no.
But they can fly through it now.
Yeah.
One of them clones got sucked out into space, and they made the Wilhelm scream. So
True. All right. So
I've got a feeling I'm going to guess one of Mark's later choices.
Well, in fact, it's going to be number 7. It is the Karelian Corvette.
Oh, look at that! No,
what?
It is the blockade runner. One of the first ships you see in the Star Wars universe in the original Star Wars 1977. The tentative for the blockade runner, the Karelian Corvette, whatever you want to call it. It is my number 7 ship.
Yeah, not one of the first. It is the first.
It is the first ship you see. Yes.
Yeah. I mean, just look
It
at
does.
that thing.
It
It looks
does.
like a battering ram.
Which
Like
hence
it's
the
ready
Hammerhead
Yeah.
version
to
that came up
smash
with.
into
Yeah. I kind of put all those together. The Hammerhead Corvette, the blockade runner Corvette. It was a perfect ship for the rebellion. At the time, it was fast. It was fast, maneuverable, and it was big enough it could carry a few fighters and get in and out of areas. So it was a really good first ship for the rebellion, I think. So that is my number 7. And Joe,
My number 6, I'm going to be throwing you guys for a little bit of loop. It's the Gladiator class Star Destroyer.
Wow. I don't know if I've heard of the Gladiator class.
You'll recognize it, I think, when you see it. Definitely big in the Star Wars Armada games. Very popular there.
Okay.
Yeah, you're seeing her now?
Yes. There we go. Let you guys take a good gander at her. There she is.
Yes. There's some nice shots on YouTube or Google too of her next to an Imperial class. She is a medium size, about half the length of an Imperial, and carries fighters, as you can see by the hangar deck.
Yeah.
But she's a medium sized warship that I think the Empire needed to spend more time on. They needed more escorts for their Star Destroyers.
Yeah.
And this would have fit that bill. I mean, just look at her forward firing main cannons on the top half there. They're big.
Oh, yeah.
She's got a low profile and she carries additional fighters. And they can move in close. Yeah, move in closer to an enemy fleet and provide hangar space for reloads and fuel without having to take the time to go all the way back to where the Star Destroyers are sitting, laying in their long range fire.
Yeah.
So I found that and I was like, that's a pretty boat.
Yes.
Yeah, that was a good one.
All right. Ray, what is your number 6?
So my number 6 we already touched on,
Hey,
which is
there we
the
go.
Arc
The Arc 170. Nice. What do you like? I mean, I kind of talked about what I liked about it. What do you like?
So my main draw to it is that it was so heavily armed. Definitely not as fast as, say, a TIE fighter. Joe kind of said it earlier, it's clunky, which it is, but in a beefy kind of way. It just, in my mind, this was a fighter. Kind of like a scrappy little dog. So
cool. So my number 6 is one that has been talked about already too. It is the Imperial 2 class Star Destroyer.
Yay!
Just an awesome looking ship. It just oozes power.
Right.
I think we've already. I can't think of anything else to say about it, but it's just as a fan of the Rebellion and the Republic, I can admit the Imperial Star Destroyer is a very nice ship.
Yes.
And there's a reason why the New Republic, at least in Legends, did end up using Star Destroyers in its fleet, is because it's a good design.
Yeah, good design. It's solid. We got some other cool people running around in them as well. Like to paint them completely red and use it as a big gambling ship. That's pretty cool. Now I'm going to go very new.
Okay.
To the Zyston class Star Destroyer.
Zyston. I don't even know how that's spelled.
Xyston. And we all see them at the end of Rise of Skywalker. That is the official class name for the Star Destroyers in the Sith fleet.
Oh.
Dropping some knowledge with his ship choices.
And of course, all the great looks of an Imperial class with a huge laser on the bottom.
There it is.
Nice.
Vicious looking.
Yeah.
You could tell they are bigger than an Imperial.
Mm-hmm.
I do like a little bit on what they've done with the back half, given a little more protection for the engines back there with some cover.
Yes.
But it's such a disappointment we didn't get to see them used properly.
Yeah.
I don't care how big that other fleet of you pacifist losers showed up. If those had launched every fighter they had on board, they would have won.
All right. Ray, what is your number 5? We're in the top 5 now.
Mine. Yes, my top 5. Number 5 is the ETA-2 Actus class, the Jedi Starfighter.
ETA-2?
They were the ones that looked more closely to
I know which
TIE
one you're talking about now. The Jedi Starfighter. Jedi Interceptor.
Yes. They were symmetrical. They reminded me of TIE fighters. They were very fast, highly maneuverable, and we get to see Obi-Wan and Anakin kind of flying around in Episode 3. We get them, showing off the combat capabilities of these early TIE fighters to me.
Well, there it is. Very cool ship. Definitely. You definitely see the TIE Fighter, the influence that the TIE Fighter took from it. Especially with the cockpit and even the kind of wings over there, definitely TIE Fighter-esque. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And my number 5 is, is a a ship that only recently has been made canon. It is a Senior Fleet Systems ship. And as soon as I get it up, you will be able to see it. It is the TIE Defender.
Oh, yeah.
Designed not only by Senior Fleet Systems, but personally designed by Grand Admiral Thrawn. This was his personal...
My number 2.
What? Hey, great minds think alike, I guess. The TIE Defender. There it is.
Shielded, hyperdrive, 6 weapon, maneuverability of a interceptor.
With the firepower of yes.
Of yes. It has just a touch. Just an awesome looking fighter.
Yeah, I remember
really
first playing, seeing this ship in the TIE Fighter video game. And it was always my favorite ship to fly in that game. Loved the maneuverability of it, loved the firepower of it. And finally see it being made canon, officially made canon was so that is my number 5 ship. To Joe, your number 4.
The TIE Silencer.
Ooh, nice. TIE Silencer.
Sleek, streamlined, everything Ray likes in a fighter.
Yeah.
Yes.
Definitely. Get a good. Nope, not that one.
Unfortunately, it's hard to find good shots of a lot of these because I just don't upload them with a high enough
resolution
at all.
Yeah.
Try it as Kylo Ren's.
I think I got one. Yeah, there we go. The TIE Silencer. Definitely, just very sleek.
And it steps from the Interceptor to, an upgrade.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You could see where it started from.
Mm-hmm.
And I also like the much larger cabin area.
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah.
So
I imagine that would be pretty helpful.
Yeah, I mean she's out. She's over engined, and then to give it a trimmed down interceptor capability, maneuverability. That's pretty awesome.
Yeah.
Nice. All right. Well, Ray, what is your number 5 or number 4?
My number 4 is the TIE Defender.
There we go. Hey, the TIE.
I mean, it tied into my number 3. So, when we come back around, it'll kind of make a little bit more sense. Okay. But I liked that design, the 3 separate weapon systems, like a backup to a backup. I just thought that was cool.
Yeah. Cool. All right. Well, my number 4 is I'm going again with the Empire once again. And it will be...
They had all the best ships.
What's that?
That's right, you are.
And you will see it here in a second. The Executor class Star Destroyer.
Oh. Beautiful.
Seeing this thing for the first time on screen, you're just like, this thing. You saw the Star Destroyer, you're like, wow, that's a big ship. Then you see this thing, you're like, oh dear Lord. When you realize that a Imperial 2 could fit in the hangar bay of one of these things, yeah. Just A beautiful ship. Just, what else is there to say about this ship?
Number one.
Number one, it's got lines for days.
Yeah. Number one. You guys have stolen mine 1 and 2 now.
Oh. I could see why, though. This would be the number one. That's a
yeah. I could
that
definitely.
Is a good
ship.
Yeah. What is your number 3?
And we got you back. Okay, so it's me again. Am I down to what? 3?
Yeah, you're the top 3.
Narasika class, the Chiss Star Destroyer.
Interesting. I don't think I've ever seen this one.
Let me see. I don't think I have either.
Let's see here.
Oh, very interesting. I'm hoping this is the right one because I typed in Chiss Star Destroyer. So
very sleek and dark.
Yes,
then that would probably be the right one. Oh no, that is a different one.
No, it is not that. All right. Well, let's see what else we got. Is it that one?
That would be it.
All right.
That looks alien enough.
It does, yeah.
While still being reminiscent of a Star Destroyer in the wedge.
Mm-hmm.
But I think of it as definitely Thrawn taking his Chiss background and his Imperial training and saying, I'm going to build an even nastier one, just like he did with the Defender.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, as the saying goes, the Chiss won't just steal your idea; they'll make it better.
Yeah, they'll make it better.
What is your number 3, Ray?
My number 3, talking about the Defender from my last one, is following suit with Joe, which is kind of weird. The Nissus Clawcraft, which is a Chiss, almost like a Chiss TIE fighter. It's got 3 separate wings to it and nasty weaponry, or maybe actually I think it's got 4. There's a few different pictures of it, but I mean, again, that fighter style. I'm drawn to the fighters, apparently, just like Joe with the destroyers.
There we go.
Everybody's got a role to play, I suppose. There it is. Yeah, look at that.
Yeah, it definitely has that.
Like, almost reminds me of a Trident.
Yeah.
And you could see that coming from Thrawn's Tri-Fighter, basically, the Defender.
Yeah.
Just the Chiss saying, okay, great job with that Defender. Now we're going to do this.
Yeah.
Right. We're going to give it one more weapon.
I think it needs another wing. But the Chiss stuff is just more aesthetically pleasing.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. And it's kind of like what you said with the Destroyer. Like, it's just alien enough
for everybody to go, ooh.
Mm-hmm. And that's why, I went with that one. That's why it's my number 3.
Well, my number 3 is once again a ship that's already been mentioned on there. It is the Interdictor cruiser. That was my number 3. I've always liked that ship since the first time I saw it in the video games, and then I just like the whole concept of it, of a ship that can be used for ambush like
interdiction.
That. I just really like, interdiction. Exactly.
Interdiction.
All right, we are in the top 2, ladies and gentlemen. And Joe, what is your number 2?
TIE Defender.
TIE Defender. I think we already know what your number 2. Yeah.
So
great choice.
Hello, everybody. We actually do agree on some things. I noticed he has agreed more with my Imperial stuff than I have with any of his.
Got him.
All right. Well, Ray, what is your number 2?
My number 2 is kind of going a different direction than the rest of my list, but it's the Low Altitude Assault Transport, the LAAT gunship. You will remember these as what you always see the clones flying in on. Very helicopter Vietnam style with the doors open, and it gets down low, they jump off. It just that kind of transport ship was just awesome.
Definitely. Okay, good look at this baby. And
yeah. I mean, that just screams firepower. Right
Huey
there.
of the Republic.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
absolutely.
Even kind of has that
sound.
That sound just sped up.
Yep.
Nice. Well, my number 2 is a... One second.
The Donald Trump? What?
Yeah.
Obvious choice. Choice. A freighter.
There it is.
You darn rebels. You guys crack me up.
It is a iconic ship.
It is an iconic ship.
The Karelian YT freighter, aka the Falcon. There it is. I mean,
it's a good shot there.
It is. That is. Junk in the galaxy, as Hogg would say.
Yep.
There's certain ships that just evoke, emotion and evoke just. I think of this ship. I think of Star Wars. I think they're, yeah. I don't know what else to.
I see that ship, and I think we need to fire our gunners.
Well, I mean, if you kind of look at it, it almost, to me anyway, resembles the ship, the destroyer we were looking at before, that they had bay right in the middle.
Yeah. I noticed we got a different sensor.
Yeah, sensor array. It's a square one instead of a circle.
Must be a different variation. But, I mean,
that's all it takes. Just change out the satellite.
Yeah. One thing I think is really interesting about the design is that the cockpit is off to the side. It's not in the front. It's not up at the top. It's kind of lopsided like that, which is. But I guess in space it really doesn't matter where the where.
Although imagine from a pilot standpoint, though, I mean, you really got to be aware that you've got something sticking out, way out on that side, and then nothing on your other side.
Yeah,
and definitely don't trust, autopilot.
No.
Yeah.
Well, considering who the autopilot is,
as long as
or what the autopilot is,
or Google.
Yeah. Yeah, Google Maps.
Yeah.
So, number 1.
Well, we already know. We know what Joe's number 1 is.
Super Star Destroyer.
But Joe, why don't you just go ahead and tell us?
Super Star Destroyer, Vader's flagship. Just
Super Star Destroyer.
Super Star Destroyer.
Prettiest ship in Star Wars.
It is. Yeah.
And belonging to one of the most prolific villains.
Heroes.
Yeah. From a certain point
From
of view.
the majority point of view. We had more troops on board a single Imperial class than you had in your whole darn alliance.
That's true.
And
number one from
Ray, what is
number one from Ray?
Number one from
my
Ray.
number one is probably going to be a little bit of a spoiler, but it is a very recent development, I guess, at least from this particular show. I guess it was displayed before in Rebels, maybe, but it is the Gozanti class freighter, and we saw that in a recent episode of The Mandalorian. I just love that it's a big old honky freighter, but this thing has enough engine thrust to save it from crashing into the ground. That's impressive for a freighter to fall from Atmo and be able to burn her up. Like that thing, that's impressive.
Well, that would be because it's an Imperial design.
Nice. Yeah, it's always cool when you see these ships that you've seen in the cartoons or like Rebels or Clone Wars or the video games or whatever, to finally see them put to quote unquote real life, and to see them in live action.
Live action, yeah. Well, I guess it was probably on the virtual, but still, it was awesome to see that.
Yeah, definitely. So my number one is a ship that was originally supposed to be an Imperial design. However, it ended up going to the Rebels and became the iconic starfighter of the Rebels. It is, of course, the Incom T65 X-Wing Starfighter.
There it is.
This is, I think, more than any other ship in Star Wars, this is one of the most iconic ships. Love the classic fighter design. Gives that warbird, that World War II warbird feel to it. It feels like a fighter plane,
and then
I think more than
don't get me
any
wrong,
other ship.
I love them. I think they're awesome.
Yeah.
My only problem is it was the most recognizable.
Yeah.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
It's a starfighter special thing in all of Star Wars.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
The other designs were, way off, totally new directions. This looks like something that comes from Earth in the future.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Same thing with that other.
But I think that kind of makes it more relatable.
Well, yeah, but for who? It's the only
fair.
one in the entire series that has that design.
Mm-hmm.
Right. The only thing.
I mean, it's awesome. I love
the only. Right. The only gripe I have about it is that, kind of going with what you're saying, that it looks like something from Earth already, is that the way those engines look, obviously they don't work that way, but from a real life kind of point of view, and this comes from an aircraft mechanic, drawing air into the front to compress and make flame coming out the back, where's the air coming from in space?
Yeah.
That's my gripe with that. But when you see those wings open up, it's like, oh yeah, it's about to get real.
Yeah.
And why call them F-foils?
If we
instead of X-foils.
Yeah, that didn't make any sense. Yeah, look, S-foils in attack position. If we didn't get your your favorite ship on here. This was our own personal favorites. There's lots of ships that we didn't mention.
Mentions the Imperial shuttle, the 3-wing shuttles.
Yep. The Lima Cass.
Yeah, those are awesome.
Z95 Headhunter.
Yeah.
The precursor to the X-Wing.
So there's a lot of honorable mentions out in the Star Wars universe.
Yeah.
So, send us some messages.
Definitely.
Comment on our
let us know what your favorites are. Yeah. Let us know how wrong we were and how we're how dare you leave this ship on.
And Mark is going to take the time this week to go through and tally up what our basically combined top group was by how many times each of us mentioned. Number one is if it got all 3 votes, there might be 1, 2, and 3 are all tied, kind of a thing. But Mark's going to do that and get it posted this week, aren't you, Mark?
Yes.
I did go ahead and get us some advertising out on the Facebook stuff for today.
Nice.
So, which we have known 2 people watching the whole time. That's probably you and I, Ray.
Awesome.
Could be, yeah.
Probably. We thank you guys for joining us this week for this this was a fun episode, I think. Just kind of, going over our ships. So Ray, why don't you let the fine people out there, internet land, know where they can find you?
Absolutely. If you go to Facebook, Twitter, or Instagram and type the Leo Effects, that'll take you to my social media pages. If you check out Shattered Dungeons, that's on Twitch TV on Tuesday nights. I'm there playing that. I am, of course, here on War of the Stars talking the most amazing Star Wars topics. And you can also find me once a month hanging out with Joe playing some 1-crit blunders and doing some rather silly things.
Nice. And Joe, what about you?
You can find me out there on all the social media platforms as Joe Cahill, director, producer, or Steamhouse Entertainment. Check my pages out and check out some of the movie projects we've got ongoing right now. They've been slowed down like everything else due to COVID. You can always reach me here at War of the Stars. You can also find me there with Ray at 1-Crit Blunders. And hopefully you're going to be able to find me on a special one-off episode of Shattered Dawn coming up. I volunteered for it, and I'm still waiting to hear back from the punk. So get on him, Ray. Get him, Ray.
All right.
Otherwise, send me a message here or on Facebook or wherever.
All right. And if you want to do that, you can email all of us here at the show at warofthestars1@gmail.com. That is the best way to get a hold of us. Other than that, you can also get a hold of us through our Facebook group or Facebook page. Both are War of the Stars, a Star Wars podcast. You can listen to the show on Anchor.fm. We are also on Spotify, Stitcher Radio, Apple Podcast, to name a few. Pretty much anywhere that podcasts are heard, you can hear us there. You can also support the show on patreon.com/War of the Stars. Definitely check that out. And also check out my other podcast, That Was the Way, the Mandalorian After Show. We are getting ready to wrap up. We got 2 episodes left in the season. Myself and Melissa Miller and sometimes Brian Miller. We discussed the previous week's episode for The Mandalorian and a lot of fun stuff. But spoiler warnings definitely are in effect for that show because we go in deep for the spoilers. Other than that, check us out next week. Next week will be our last show of the year before we break for the holiday season. So we hope to see you guys here next week for that show, as we'll be doing hopefully all the news that is be coming out of Disney and the Star Wars Lucasfilm. They're supposed to be coming up with some pretty big announcements, so we will be discussing that and then discussing some fan theories.
Mm-hmm.
With that being said, as always, remember, this isn't just my Star Wars. This isn't just your Star Wars. This is our Star Wars. Until next week, may the Force be with you.